Bunch, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Today on Cristin Eats, I'm going to be having some Cone Palace. I don't know if you can see it right there on the cup. It says Cone Palace on it. Got me a large vanilla Coke. Now, Cone Palace is like a local delicacy. You're not going to find it anywhere other than my town, but it is really good. So, sorry, nobody else can go and get some unless you're local. So I've got some leakage going on down here. I'm a little bit worried on what's going on, but we got some fried greasy goodness, so it could just be some grease leaking. I don't know. That sounds really nasty. So I got some chicken, what are those called? Chicken poppers, I think. Is it chicken poppers? I'll have to think about that one. I don't think they're called chicken poppers. They're chicken bites, that's what it's called. With some ranch dressing. Normally I wouldn't have gotten ranch, but we don't have any more here at home. My food's kind of getting cold, which makes me really sad and a little aggravated, but whatever. I don't know what was leaking because everything seems fine here. So I've also got some onion rings. These are like the only onion rings that I like because I'm weird. I don't like to get a bite of onion. I pull the onion out and I just eat the breading. These are better when they're warm, but they've gotten kind of cold. So when it comes to onions, I love the way they flavor food. They do an amazing job at flavoring, but I don't want just like a bite of an onion. Raw onion? No. No thank you. Not gonna happen. Nope, nope, nope. Onions gotta be cooked, and preferably so minced that I'm not gonna get a bite of it. But these onions that they use are so sweet that like if I do get a bite of onion, it's not that bad. I'm going to work on eating these right now because they're getting cold. So we got our tax refund back. Woo! And we've already pretty much used it all. I had a bill in collections. If you follow me from my main channel, which if you don't know I have one, shameless self-promotion, I do. Link is down below. If you follow me from my main channel, then you know I had some things that fell in collections. I had one left. I've been working all last year to pay everything off, and this was my big one. So we just waited till tax time to pay it off. It was a medical bill. I had to have rehabilitation on my knee. I had to go to physical therapy. And my insurance told me, oh, you're fine. You've got, was it like 30 days you can go, blah, blah, blah. So I went. Never got a bill. Never got a phone call. 2 years later, or a year and a half later, I think it is. Had my son call the hospital, make a payment, or set up a payment plan for my hospital bills from having my son. And I asked, do I owe you guys anything else? Do I have everything? Because when you have a kid and you go into labor, like you have all these different bills, and so they just pile them all into like a payment plan, and so you work on one bill and it goes to the next, it goes to the next. It's not like a flat, oh, you owe $5,000. It's a, you owe $800 for your stay, and you owe $1,000 for anesthesia, and it's all like broken up. So I asked him, I was like, do I have everything in this payment plan? Making sure I had all my bases covered. And the lady goes, everything that's active is in your payment plan, but I see here that a year ago you had physical therapy and the bill went into collections. And I'm like, duh. WTF. Actually, it's been longer than that. I'm getting a year because I looked at Credit Karma this morning to get the number to call. Which, if you have anything in collections and you need the phone number to call to pay it, get on Credit Karma. It'll give you the phone numbers to call. Because I know sometimes debts get traded hands, and you don't always get notified about it. So anyways, I think it's been longer than a year. I think the current owners of my debt have had it a year. I'm pretty sure that's where it's coming from, because yeah, I was like 24 when that happened. I'm 27 now, so I'm probably closer to 3 years that it all happened. But anyway, That's how I found out I went to collections. And I'm like, that's been 2 insurances ago. Like, how do I even track that down? You know, like. So, I just ended up paying it. So we paid that this morning. And then the reason my food is cold, I just ordered it. We used to live on the south side of town, which is where Comb Palace is at. So I went there to get food, get Comb Palace. Because they only have 1 location. I would love it. They are so popular, I'm sure they could. I would love it if they would open up a second location here on the north end, now that we live over here. Granted, it's only like a 10-minute drive. It's not that far, but... Anyway, I went to Comb Palace to get food. And my husband said we need to draw out like $800 from our tax return. I was like, well, I'm on that end of town anyways, because, like I said, we used to live there, so our bank was on that end of town. I don't think they have a branch here on the north end. So, like, I never go to the bank anymore, pretty much. Not unless I, like, really need to go. So, anyway. I'm just eating the onions out of this. It's, like, getting hard to peel them out. But they're so sweet and so tender. It's not like biting a crisp onion. They're not that bad. If you don't like onions, like, granted, they're not nationwide, so you can't go get them, but they're pretty good. Anyways, I had to go to the bank and draw money out. I had to wait in line, like, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes. Because there was, like, people in front of me. And so, now that I'm home, my food's getting cold. If I'd known I needed to go to the bank, I would have went there first. And then to Comb Palace. My husband didn't mention wanting to draw the money out until I already gotten food. But he has a credit card he needs to pay off. But he doesn't want to pay it off until after our new insurance kicks in. So we're just setting the $800 aside in case of, like, medical emergencies. So, I had a request to discuss. Let me find the comment really quickly. Okay, so I wanted to be able to give a proper shout out. So if you guys ever have a request for something for me to eat or for something for me to talk about, always leave them in the comments of my videos, and I have a notebook I write them down in. So I'll go in order. So today's request is from Britt Candy, and she asked if I could do, if I could talk about relationship advice, specifically about abusive relationships. So this one hits close to home for me because when I was between 17 to 18, I dated a guy who was abusive. It was a really bad relationship. And as far as advice for that, if you're in an abusive relationship, get out. And that's my best advice. Get out of it. I know that's hard. I know that's easier said than done. I know there may be ramifications, like the person might start stalking you. That's what happened to me, and we started having death threats, vandalization of property, stalking. Like, we went through all of that. And I say we because I lived at home with my parents at the time, and so, like, it affected them. Like, the mailbox and the cars getting messed up was my parents' cars, my parents' mailboxes, my bedroom window, but, like, on their house. So I say we because every bit affected my parents. Yeah, my tenderloin is cold. Do you guys have tenderloins, pork tenderloins in other states? I've heard that it's really just like an Indiana thing. I've heard you can't get them in other places. I don't know. I'm sad it's cold. So, my pork tenderloin is breaded. It has lettuce, pickle, and mayonnaise. And it's like a state delicacy. Like, you go to, like, the local fairs and stuff, and it's all about breaded pork tenderloins, or BK. I already did a mukbang with them once. They have the best pork tenderloins. Their pork tenderloins are massive. Like, they stick out probably a good inch away from the bun all the way around. They're massive. These ones are more user-friendly. They're smaller. So, I personally haven't experienced, thankfully, an abusive relationship while living on my own. I can imagine that's so much harder to get out of, especially if you're like financially tangled up with the person. That can make things really difficult. But I know, at least in my city, and I know it's common, or they have them in other cities as well, you can find like women's shelters. And so if you're really in an abusive relationship, you know, go to one of those women's shelters and see what they can do for you if you can get out. I mean, it might even come down to the thing if you have to like call 911 and have a cop come and escort you out if it's that bad. But whatever you can do, get out. It's not worth staying in. My personal belief when it comes to relationships, find a move-in ready. Don't buy a fixer-upper. And someone who's abusive towards you will appear as a fixer-upper who's trying and they love you and they're going to put you up on a pedestal and I love you, baby, and I'm doing all of this for you and I'm really trying and blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to knock you off your pedestal, make you feel like shit. Oh my gosh, they're just going to do everything to make you feel bad. And then they're going to come back at you and say, please stay with me, I really love you, I want to try. And it's going to keep being a cycle. And some of the knocking off your pedestal might be mental. That's a lot of what I went through, was mental abuse with the boyfriend that I had. It was mental and sexual. He made me do things sexually that I did not want to do. And they can also be physical. And thankfully mine was never physical in the sense of like being beaten. That never happened. Probably because he knew I'd kick his ass. It's a lot easier to recognize when you're being physically abused versus mentally abused. Physically abused, they punch you in the face. That you can't deny that that wasn't abuse. Like there is no reason ever for a man or a woman to hit their partner in the face. There's no reason for it, ever. And like I said, I've never been in that situation, and I feel like a physically abusive relationship probably goes hand in hand with a mentally abusive relationship, so they probably make you feel like it's your fault, or like you deserved it, or like it was an accident and it'll never happen again. But it will more than likely happen again, and you do not deserve that kind of treatment. So get out, get help, whatever you can, go talk to somebody. I know a lot of times they'll try to alienate you from your friends and family. I had that happen. He really tried to get me away from friendships that I had. I was in high school at the time. I was like a senior in high school, I think, or maybe I was a junior. And this guy was like my age, but he was out of school. He dropped out. So he was kind of more in the real world, I guess. And he would, every day after school, take my phone, go through and see everybody I was talking to. He would talk trash about all of my friends, make me not want to hang out with them, make me think they're bad people, or like try to tell me that they're bad people and that I shouldn't be associating with them, even though my friends are like perfectly, you know, fantastic people. Those are just some signs that you can see. This is like not a good relationship to be in. Someone should not be controlling you like that. So my advice would be, get out, end it, and get out. And I know that can be really hard. Again, you might end up having issues that come of that. And you have to take the steps to protect yourself. But you will be, in the long run, better off if you get away from that person. And my best advice for ending a bad relationship is to cut that person off completely. I know it can be hard, but if they're not a good person, if they are not doing right by you, if you need out of that relationship, and they're just somebody that you don't really want in your life at all, it can be hard, but cut them off. Like, tell them it's done, delete their phone number, block their phone number, delete and block them off of all forms of social media, get away from them. And I know it can be tempting, even like a regular relationship when you break up, that like you want to stalk your ex, you want to get on their Facebook and see what they're doing, but you're just torturing yourself. You really are. And so it's hard, but you're better off if you just completely get rid of them. So that they have no access to you and you have no access to them. And it'll take time. Ending any relationship takes time. Getting out of an abusive relationship probably takes even more time to heal. It took me years, really, to get over that abusive relationship. And even still, I had problems up until like last September with always being concerned that I was being stalked and being followed, always looking over my shoulder when I was out in public, always worried that I was going to run into him or one of his family members. That went on for almost 10 years. And it was so second nature for me to like be looking over my shoulder for this guy that like I didn't even realize I was doing it anymore until I found out last September that he died. And it was like an instant like weight went off my shoulders, like, oh my gosh, he's gone. And there's a part of me, and I hate to say it, but I feel like it's just part of the relationship. If you've heard of Stockholm Syndrome, it's where you want to defend your captor or your abuser. There's always been a part of me that's always still wanted to defend him. Still wanted to think the best of him. Like, that's always still been there. And so the other stronger part of me had to say, shut up. We're not following you anymore. You're dumb. Shut up. And, you know, move on in life and get rid of him. So, finding out he died, there was a small part of me that was still kind of sad. That was like, I mean, it's sad when anybody dies. But there was a part of me that was sad because that, you know, I did love him when I was with him. And I think that's kind of normal to feel like that. But on the other hand, I was kind of like, you're dumb. We're not going to grieve this guy, you know? And then the other part of me was just like relieved. Like, oh my gosh, it's over. And like, I didn't even realize I was so looking over my shoulder for the last 10 years. Because I live in a small town. Like I said, it takes like 10 minutes to get from the north side to the south side. And everybody knows everybody. And so it was just a relief, like a weight lifted off my shoulders when I found out he died. And I know not everybody is going to get that lucky who's been in an abusive relationship and then had issues after the relationship. I know they're not all going to get so lucky that your abuser just dies and suddenly you don't got to worry about him anymore. But let me tell you, from someone whose abuser did die, it feels pretty good knowing that I don't got to worry about him no more. I really don't. And I know that sounds really shitty, but I'm just being honest with you guys. Like, it feels so good not being paranoid about running into him and him following me home and starting to destroy things. Because we had issues, I'd say, for like 4 or 5 years after him and I broke up, that I still lived at home with my parents. That for that time frame, he would still stalk me. He would still mess up property. At least we're assuming it's him. Like, we didn't have cameras, but we're pretty sure it was him. And we had issues all the way up until the time I moved out of my house. And then he didn't know where I lived. So suddenly everything stopped. I mean, we knew the stalking part, because I'd be outside and he would just start driving down my street repetitively until I went back inside. Or if I was out walking with friends and he seen me, he would start driving his car constantly past me. And it was scary. The vandalizing part is the part where I said, I meant, like, we're pretty sure it was him. Like, we didn't have cameras for proof, but the window we knew was him, because he broke my window. But the mailbox and the cars getting messed up, I'm pretty sure it was him, but we don't have, like, we didn't see it, you know. And it's messed up, too, because, like, this guy went on with his life. Like, he had a kid. I know this because small town, you know, everybody hears everything. He had a kid with one chick. He married another girl that I went to high school with. Had a kid with her. Actually got her pregnant and then started abusing her. And so she left him. And then after her, he got with some other girl, got married, had another kid with her. I found that out from the girl I went to high school with. Small town. And so I feel bad for his kids that got left without a dad. And I kind of feel bad for his wife, but I can only assume that he's probably abusing her like he did me and like he did the girl I went to high school with. Because after her and him split, like, her and I became friends, and, like, we talked about everything that we went through with him. So, and it sounds like he only got worse. Because he, like, physically abused her. Like, she was pregnant, and I think he punched her in the stomach, if I remember correctly. He punched her somewhere. But even after he died, like, her and I talked about him dying. And she said, like, she felt the same thing. That she felt like a weight was lifted off her shoulders. Because he was doing the same crap to her. Like, I feel like he just had, like, a record of all of his ex-girlfriends and just, like, made it a point to do his rounds and stalk everybody. Because I wasn't the only one he was doing it to. Like I said, it stopped for me after I moved out of my parents' house. So he didn't know where I was. At least to my knowledge, he didn't know where I was. Like I said, small towns, maybe he did and he just decided to stop. I don't know. But I think it's awful coincidental that everything stopped after I moved out of my parents' house. But, like I said, for 10 years, like, I was always worried that he would see me in public and start stalking me again and find out where I'm at. And I don't have to worry about that anymore. And it's pretty freaking awesome. I mean, like I said, it's sad that he died. I feel bad for his family. But for me and for the girl I went to high school with, we're feeling pretty good about it. But, yeah, if you're in that kind of situation, my advice would be to get out in whatever way possible. Surround yourself with people who love you and care about you. And get help. Go to therapy. You really are going to need it. I went to therapy after that relationship, and it was such a big help for me. Such a big help. Because, like, I was so wrapped up in this guy. Like, I completely forgot, like, my sense of self. Without him, I was like, who am I? What do I do? Like, what do I like? Like, I don't know who I am anymore. I was so used to him telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing and what I like doing, and it was hard. But if you think you're in an abusive relationship, it is not worth trying to save it. It's not worth trying to stick it out. Get out of it. Just get out of it. It's not worth it. So, yesterday, I got a comment on my Panera Bread mukbang, I think. And I don't know if she subscribed to me or not. But the girl made the comment of saying, you talk way too much. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what did you expect? Because it's a 45-minute long video, and it says it's a rant. Like, did you not read? I don't know what you were expecting. I just think it's kind of funny. Like, everything on the video is very transparent. It tells you how long the video is. It tells you, like, I tell you in the not the comments, but the title, what it is. I tell you what I'm eating. I tell you it's a mukbang eating show, and I tell you what we're talking about. I think the only one I haven't said what I'm talking about in is the one for BK, and it says fried greasy goodness. And if I remember right, I didn't have a whole lot to say in that video, to be honest. But and everything else, like, it tells you what the video is about. It tells you what I'm talking about. It tells you how long the video is. I don't know what she was expecting. I'm kind of like, did you not read? Did you not? I mean, if someone wants me to do an ASMR video, or a video where I just eat and don't talk, you can request that. But there's a nice way to do that. Not just saying you talk too much. Like, if that's not the kind of video you want to watch, like, say, hey, I'd love it if you do an ASMR, or I'd love it if you would do just an eating video without talking. Like, I am more than willing to accommodate. That's cool. I can do that. I mean, an ASMR video, I don't know if my camera microphone is quite good enough for that. I would like to invest in an external microphone. Is that the correct term? Like a little microphone piece, so that the sound quality is better. Because I feel like this camera does great for just like my regular videos on my main channel. But for eating videos, I know you guys aren't hearing everything. So I don't know how well I would do with ASMR, but I'd be more than willing to try. And if someone wants just like a plain video where I just eat and I don't talk, I can do that. That's not an issue. Well, you gotta ask for it nicely. Don't just tell me I'm talking too much. You know, that's kind of rude. I mean, it's fine if that's not her kind of video. But personally, I like mukbangs where people eat food and tell me a story. That's what I like. So that's what I make. But again, if someone wants to ask nicely for a request for something different, I'm fine with doing that. So, yeah. Anyway, we're done. This was delicious. It was yummy. It was cold, but it was good. I'm full. If you guys made it this far, leave me a comment down below that says Coca-Cola, so I know who all's making it towards the end of my videos. And I think that's going to be it. So if you want to be a member of the Lunch Bunch, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below because I would love to have you here. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.